Welcome to the Daily Gamer Podcast number 34 with me, Joe Mango, and this week my co-host is...
Ali and Sayed. What's up, everyone?
Very excited to have you, Ali. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
As you can tell, we're in a little bit of a different spot than usual. We're here in Provision AVL, so you can see some really cool products. They're an AV distributor from lighting to audio, rigging. Even this desk that we're on is actually a stage, but a lot of DJs actually use it for their DJ riser kind of thing as well. Yeah, pretty cool. And I've got this little product here. This is the Solid State Logic, which is one of the brands that they distribute. And it's a 4-channel interface with analog, but then you can also, it's got an ADAT in, which basically means you can get an extra 8 inputs with like an extra external preamp, basically.
Okay. That's awesome.
That makes sense. It's a really easy thing to use. It's got what they call super analog preamps, all right, which is pretty cool. So it sounds really clear when you're recording. So if you're doing a podcast like us and you want to have 4 microphones, this might be the exact tool that you need. We'll talk a little bit more later on about what Provision AVL have, but obviously we're going to have all this in the background. We've also got our screen in the back, and this is actually showcasing
our setup.
The setup, yeah, essentially, and all the cameras and how it's all working. We've got Chris and his team from the Creative Broadcast Agency. These guys are really cool. They've helped us do our whole setup. We'll put some stuff on Instagram about the behind the scenes as well. But yeah, thanks to those guys, and we'll talk a little bit more about them. But we've got a whole hour of gaming to talk about first.
Starting with, what have you been playing as of late? I mean, I think I know the answer, but like, humor me. What have you been playing as of late?
I gotta be honest, I can't get off Elden Ring DLC.
Shadow of the Entry.
Yeah, and you know what's great is like I kind of never actually finished Elden Ring. Okay. I mean, I was 75 hours in on my main character, but I just was stuck at the Farum Mazula place. It's a bit hard, that place, if you don't know.
Okay.
So yeah, I basically was like, right, I'm going to go back and I'm going to finish the game, which I have done. But then I thought, hey, I'm going to make it even harder for myself and also try and beat Melania.
Okay.
Which is like the hardest boss in Elden Ring.
And how's that going?
Still haven't got there yet. So I've started the DLC.
Okay.
But I went back to try and defeat Melania, so I'm still there.
Okay.
But like, I'm so glad I took like a year and a half out of playing it. And I've come back and I've almost just like relived my love for it again, which is awesome.
Of course.
What about you?
For me also, yeah, I started actually Elden Ring for the first time when the DLC came out.
First time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because to be honest, that kind of game is not my cup of tea. Not that I'm saying it's a bad game, no, it's a brilliant game. And now that I got myself out of the comfort zone and I'm playing it and everything, now I'm enjoying it. Of course, I'm following a guide. I'm not gonna feel ashamed by saying that, because I love how when I start playing it first of all, like when you start the game for the first time, spoilers. Yeah. You walk out of a room and then you see the first comment, jump, and you jump and you die. I'm like, okay. Finish the tutorial area, walk out. In the usual gamer fashion, just walk in, see the first thing you try to kill, smash, like literally wipe the floor with me many times. I'm like, okay, maybe I need to go to the right, climb down. I'm faced with a dragon. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. So I'm like, you know what, let me start following a guide. But once I start following up the guide, the game is brilliant. The game is amazing, and I can't wait to like dig my nails into it a bit more, see like where the story goes and everything. Also, I've been tapping into the huge backlog that I have. So I finally managed to play Callisto Protocol. Okay. Loved it. Yeah. I mean,
I haven't tried that one.
The story could have been a bit stronger, but again, the overall feels, the graphics, the motion graphics, everything, brilliant game. Also played Dead Space remake, loved that one too, but a lot of people are gonna disagree with me when I say this. I enjoyed Callisto Protocol a bit more.
Okay.
Yeah. And now I started also playing Hellblade 2.
Oh.
Very disappointed.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Again, I haven't played it, but mainly because I was thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna play that. That sounds quite cool. And then I heard everyone talking about it and going, nah, it's not worth it.
Again, to give it its credit, from a cinematic point of view, amazing.
Yeah, like it's Unreal Engine 5 or something like that, right? And it's apparently it looks like one of the best games looks-wise. But everything else falls short.
Yeah, it's just like it's weird. It's just, I'm like, you had a lot of beautiful mechanics in the first one that you just like kind of disregarded and gave us this baby mechanics that basically doesn't make you feel that you actually play. Like, might as well, you could have released it as a movie, as an interactive movie.
Well, it's only like 5 hours long.
Yeah,
anyway,
with like quick time events and like that's it. But I don't know. It wasn't like my cup of tea.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to jump into that one. But just quickly going back to Elden Ring, you were talking about story in the other game, could have been better. What I like about Elden Ring is it has an amazing story, but it doesn't like force it on you.
No.
It's not like every 2 seconds there's another cutscene, another thing, and another thing to read and whatever. You can follow the lore if you want, and it's amazing. Or you can just go and have your own adventure, and it's still just as amazing. So I do like that.
In short, what I can say about the Elden Ring world is, this is how an open world should be.
Yeah.
Every character is significant, whether if it's big or small.
Yeah.
You would feel that, this is an NPC character, it's not going to be anything. Even vendors, sometimes vendors would have side quests that would open a whole storyline that I didn't know existed.
Yeah.
So this is where you see that From Software put their heart and soul into it, and making sure that that world is immersive. And a lot of other developers and studios should learn from that.
Definitely.
It's a world that you never get bored from.
And the DLC is like so massive. It was a lot more than I thought it would be.
It should have been like its own game.
It could have been.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
And they've said that this is actually the last the only DLC that's going to happen.
Or for now.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, they've probably had such good popularity from it that maybe they'll do another one, or maybe they'll just do an Elden Ring 2.
Maybe.
Or
maybe they'll do something else, because I mean, they did kind of something similar with Dark Souls, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And then you had Sekiro as well.
I mean, Dark Souls, at least they made like 3 of them, right?
Yeah.
And then
you had the one off of Sekiro, which also was great. So From Software, you can feel that they nailed this genre and they know what they're doing. So
I mean, they've got like a subgenre based after them, right?
Pretty much so. And
Souls-likes.
Yeah, and basically, whether they continue with the Elden Ring story or they even start something new from scratch.
Yeah.
I have like total faith in them.
Oh yeah, 100%. Coming up for the rest of the podcast, by the way, I forgot to mention, we're going to be doing some gaming news, and we also have something that we're excited to tell you.
Yes.
And we're actually. We've been kind of sitting on this for about a week and a bit, which we're under embargo, right?
Yes.
So we went basically to go to a Ubisoft preview of Star Wars Outlaws.
Yeah.
And me and Ali went down. We had about 3 hours of gameplay, although we did have to share that. So
which is
it
fine.
was a bit of like, can I have a go now? Is it my turn?
Yeah. I mean, we did fairly well.
No, we did. We did like half an hour each.
Yeah.
And what was cool is Ali played it on controller. I played it on PC.
Yeah.
Keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
Just so we could see what the differences were like. And yeah, we're going to be talking about that later on, going into more detail. I've also got a top 10 games that are coming out in August.
Okay.
So all of that. Ali, I mean, you're kind of the guy and the knowledge behind the news.
Yes.
You want to talk about what's going on with Marvel Rivals and Concord.
Yes.
Do you want to explain a little bit more about both those games and what's going on in the world of gaming news?
Okay, so let's start with Concord. And let's give people context of when we're recording this. Today is like, what, the 26th of July?
Yeah.
So as everyone knows, Concord had a closed beta 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then they had an open beta last week. And last minute, basically, like they were like, the studio was like, the closed beta is going to be for pre-orders, but then last minute they were like, if you're a PlayStation Plus member as well, you can jump in and play. You don't need to pre-order, because again, it's coming on PlayStation Plus day one, right? Yeah. People jumped in, played it. You can see a lot of mixed reviews, but majority of them is like, why is this game releasing now? We moved on from the first week. We always say, like, with the first week of closed beta, it's always like a hit and miss, because that's their first build or whatever. And then a week later, they did the open beta, and something interesting happened that baffled a lot of people by seeing a drop of almost 8% of player count from the closed beta, which should be the other way around.
Should be the other way around. Yeah.
But then the overall sentiment basically is like, we had fun, but honestly, either release this game as a free-to-play or delay it and have a PvE mode into it that can tap into the story that you have. I've tried both weeks, to be honest. The game doesn't know what it wants to be. The game doesn't know what it wants to be.
Yeah.
It's Overwatch meets a washed-up version of Guardians of the Galaxy. The gameplay, like, for example, when you play Overwatch or you play any of these like multiplayer online games, when you kill your enemies or like do something, you feel excited about it.
Yeah.
This one is like, meh. my first comment when I played the first week, I said that this game lacks soul.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also there are cutscenes, like even in the beta there are cutscenes, and you don't understand where these cutscenes are leading to. Is there like an overall story? Like for example with Overwatch.
So sorry, just the type of game that it is like supposed to be like an Overwatch, like a 5v5.
Yeah. So basically, like it's like elimination or like capture the flag or the usual modes, right? And you have like the competitor, the competitor mode as well.
Okay.
But then, at least with Overwatch, when it came out, they had like their own animation thing on YouTube and on the internet, but then when you jump into the gameplay, it's pure gameplay.
Yeah.
This one, everything is merged together. And there was one weird thing that I didn't understand, which basically there was a setting where you can make the controller vibrate as when there's dialogue happening, and that only happens in cutscenes.
Okay.
Not even in the, like I thought maybe you can hear it, like you can use it to sense enemies or anything. It was so weird, and even when you hold the controller to your ear, you can kind of hear the dialogue being muffled, not through the speaker, just through the entirety of the controller. Did not add up to me at all. But yeah, like overall,
not good.
Yeah, like I don't see a lot of people would actually spend $40 for them to play it. And also, when a lot of people said, "Oh, it's baffling to see that they had a massive drop by like 8%," I'm like, no, it's not baffling. That means, because usually Sony, if they're like a massive pre-order like spike or numbers or anything, they won't shy away from mentioning it. Like this early. But the fact that they did this thing of last minute, if you're a PlayStation Plus member, play it. And then you see the week one that you had a certain amount of number of players, and then the second week people dropped. That means that you don't have pre-orders to support this, because that means the majority of people who played this was PlayStation Plus holders.
Yeah.
So where are your pre-order numbers? Show us. But also, this could be a thing that I've been seeing, like a lot of publishers have been doing as of late, a tactic of like, the fans are saying this is not good, the publisher still releases it, the game fails, and the studio gets shut down.
Unfortunately, that's been happening more and more.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, like a beta is essentially there to iron out the final creases.
Yep.
Right. It should be into a place where the game's pretty polished and it's pretty good to go. But obviously, once we get thousands of people playing it all at once, we're going to see some issues pop up, and then we can fix them.
You test the servers, you test a lot of things.
But it seems like they need to actually, have this beta almost like an alpha, and then go back to the drawing board for the next 6 months, a year.
A year,
to get it.
Give it another
be,
year. Yeah, give it another year.
So you reckon they shouldn't release it anytime soon?
Not even as a free-to-play now.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, that's the thing that is always happening with studios, where you're like, oh, it's not quite ready, but we kind of need to put it out because we got pressure from above, and we need to put it out so we can start generating money. But then you just get a bad rep.
And here's a fun thing.
Like what Cyberpunk did. It kind of messed it up to start with, but then it did get it back in the end. But maybe they should just waited an extra 6 months.
But that's the thing, though. Like with Cyberpunk, it was like a single player game.
Yeah.
With this one, if you don't have people to play it, then what are you gonna do with it?
Exactly.
And also the funny thing, like you can see that they're going full force with it, because they're also releasing like a limited edition Concord DualSense controller. I'm like, okay.
That's not ideal.
Yeah, clearly you guys are going crazy with this. So let's see how it goes. But
so you've obviously got Concord.
Mm-hmm.
Overall views not great.
Yeah.
They need to go back to the drawing board. But on the opposite side of that, you've got Marvel Rivals, which is a similar game.
Pretty much. Again, like it's the same style, 5v5, but at least this time you have, don't quote me on this, but more than 20 like Marvel superhero characters, and the beta that started now, the closed beta that started now is for console. Meanwhile, the PC beta has been going on ever since May, I think, or April.
Okay.
And you can tell that people are actually enjoying playing that game.
I think there was like 55,000 something on, people
give
playing
and take.
it.
Yeah.
And I think Concord had like 5,000 or something like that.
No, even less.
And
even it did. Concord did mediocrely on PC. Like they started with like 2,000 players. Yeah, which is really sad. But on the other hand, you have Marvel Rivals that's been going slow and steady. I mean, when you know that NetEase is the studio behind it, you kind of like feel
At ease.
Yeah, because I think they did the other one as well. Inhuman. There was another. There's another game that came out recently. Yeah. So you can see that they had a good roster under their belt.
Yeah.
And the way that you see how they're slowly like introducing Marvel Rivals to PC first and then the console.
Yeah. They're doing it the smart way.
Yeah, thank you very much. You know, like they're doing
and it obviously does have the selling point of Marvel behind it, which currently, I mean, I haven't played it, but just from what I've heard, it's probably one of the best Marvel things to come out of late.
and it ties up very well because, for example, on PC you had like the basic characters, but then when it was announced to console and it's coming to PS5, now they introduced Venom as well. Cool. Because you had Spider-Man, right? But now they introduced Venom as well. So you can see that this would work in so many ways with so many different consoles depending on the licensing agreements that they have with like Marvel from one way or another. You know what I mean? And so far, like, have you seen any like cinematics from it? You only seen like the character reveals and that's it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, with Concord, again, it's back to this like washed-up Guardians of the Galaxy style of things. But where are we going with this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's disappointing. I guess, you know, make your own decisions.
Yes.
Check it out.
Yeah.
See what you think. For me, I think the Marvel one does look quite cool.
Yeah,
I'm quite excited to give it a go.
Yeah.
We have some other news which you wanted to dive into, which is a little bit of a topic.
It's an interesting topic
about Xbox.
Yes.
Do you want to go into more detail about that?
So, also like a couple of weeks ago, and correct me if I'm wrong because you have the title. I think an EMEA manager came out from Xbox saying that PlayStation is doing better because they have more marketing money than Xbox.
Yeah, it was the Xbox marketing boss.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're like, PlayStation is doing better than Xbox because they have
EMEA marketing director Michael Flatt.
There we go.
There we go.
There we go. Now I'm gonna just like sit properly because we need to talk about this.
Okay.
Now
we're getting down to it.
Yeah. And now, like with me being like away from my previous job, I can actually talk freely about a lot of things.
Okay.
So yeah, strap in, guys. This is gonna be fun.
I'm excited. Yeah.
Let's compare the following.
Yeah.
You had both Xbox Series X and S released at the same time as PlayStation, which is end of 2020.
Yeah.
Okay. And now we're almost 4 years later. Let's break it down step by step, right? How many first-party title games did Sony have or like PlayStation have versus how many first-party titles that Xbox had? We're not saying successful or not. We're just saying the number of titles, right?
Yeah.
Like from the get-go, you had Miles Morales, and you had the Astro Boy, and then you had
God of War,
Horizon, Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
You had a Ratchet and Clank.
Last of Us back in.
Last of Us,
still coming out.
Last of Us,
year.
like remake and stuff like that. Again, like all of these things.
Yeah.
Right. Meanwhile, with Xbox, you had what? You had Halo Infinite, flop. You had Redfall, another flop.
Oh, that was bad.
Hellblade, a third flop.
Yeah.
And for the past 4 years,
Starfield, which didn't live up to expectations.
At all.
I wouldn't say flop.
And also was terribly handled by Bethesda when people like said, no, it's not running well here and there, but that's another topic.
Yeah.
And like with Xbox for the past 3 to 4 years, you've been hearing, we have these games, but no release date. Meanwhile, Sony had PlayStation had a solid plan of what's to come and what to expect. Even when if you remember, end of last year when the Insomniac leak happened, you kind of see that they have a plan to 2035.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, even now, like as we're speaking, yesterday Stalker 2 got delayed to November 20th on Xbox.
Yeah.
So to
that
break
was
it,
delayed already as well, wasn't it?
That's the thing. Everyone is like delayed yet again.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So now, let's break it down. Even with PlayStation 5, if you compare it to PlayStation 4 with the first 4 years, PlayStation 4 had more powerful lineup and more powerful games from the beginning. So PlayStation 5 compared to PlayStation 4 is not doing well as the PlayStation 4 did, right? But that being said, you have a problem. You have a difference here. Sony, as a company, believes in its product, which is the PlayStation, and they've been supporting it fully. And they like, I think PlayStation is a big chunk of their revenue and income from PlayStation when it comes to Sony. Microsoft does not believe in Xbox. Although, if you want to go technical, Xbox is more powerful than PlayStation, console-wise. But you don't see any support from Microsoft at all. Like it's like, oh, it's just there. People are gonna buy it or not, we don't care, but it's just there. But you can feel that eventually they're gonna pull the plug on it sooner rather than later. Because even with Sony, they have like a solid plan of integrating you slowly but surely into their ecosystem. So you started with the PlayStation 5, and then you got introduced to the Edge, and then the DualSense Edge, and then the Portal, and then the headsets. And when you look at it, it's the
VR, but that didn't quite take off.
VR is like way too early for all of them, to be honest. But at least you have an ecosystem there.
Yeah.
With Xbox, we have the Series X and the Series S. Right, amazing, cool. Oh, but we're also releasing an all-digital Series X that's going to be more expensive than the current X that has a DVD, like a disc drive in it.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense. But also, we want you to get our consoles, but also, by the way, if you have a Samsung TV that's manufactured from 2022 onwards, no need for you to have a console, because you have Game Pass Cloud there, right?
Yeah.
And also now, if you don't have a TV and a Samsung TV, what about the Amazon Fire Stick?
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. But also we want you to buy our consoles. But also you can play anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
And obviously, like, even the Game Pass is like PC and Xbox. You can get it just on PC and it's cheaper.
But also, like, you don't get the same games as you get on Xbox. So
Yeah.
it makes more sense for you to get like that like for Xbox, right? But then you want me to buy your consoles, but also you don't want me to buy your consoles.
Yeah.
Right? You want me to play your games. Where are your games? You don't feel that there's a solid plan. We're just doing, like, it's like they're shooting in the dark everywhere, and they're hoping for something to stick.
And the thing is, they should be able to easily beat Sony.
Easily.
Because of the fact that they have Microsoft behind them.
Look at the PlayStation 3 versus 360 days.
Yeah.
Xbox was dominating more during the 360 phase, the 360 phase more than PlayStation, or at least at the beginning, right?
Do you think it comes down to just the quality of games?
It's the quality of games, and if you as a company believe in your product or not.
And I think, him saying about, we don't have marketing budget or whatever, but at the end of the day, the game speaks for itself, I think. If you've got a really good game, people talk about it and people will buy it. I don't know what Elden Ring spent on their marketing. I'm sure it was a good amount of money.
Yeah.
But I'm sure Xbox spend way more on their marketing than
you would think
than
so.
Bandai would.
But no, they don't. Like Starfield, by the way, when it came out last year and they had like a few things here and there, it wasn't Microsoft's budget. It was Bethesda's budget. You would think it's part of Xbox now, right?
Yeah.
But from the looks of it, it's not. And this is the other thing. They are so focused on buying a lot of studios like Activision, Bethesda, and everything. But when you look into the nitty-gritty of things, they own these studios, but they don't own these studios. What is happening?
Yeah.
So let's not talk about let's not do this game of like, Sony has more marketing money than us. Meanwhile, you don't even believe in your product.
Yeah.
Believe in your product first. Have a solid plan. Come to me and tell me, hey, for the next 5 years, this is what we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna do, and we're gonna stick to it. Majority of the games that allegedly coming out this year, I mean, we faced the first delay already, and I'm not sure if you've seen this. As of this morning, there's another strike when it comes to voice actors.
Yeah.
Yep. So, are you gonna actually meet all these deadlines?
I also saw that Blizzard are now unionizing as well.
So there you go. So
internally, it's all over the place with all the developers, and I think a lot of developers, because obviously when they get acquired like Bethesda or whatever, Bethesda are like a publisher, let's say, they have different developing studios within that, right? That they've also bought in the past or whatever. And I think it's a scary time to be a developer owned by Microsoft, Xbox at the moment.
Or
because
any of the big companies. Yeah, any of the big companies. Because at this point, you have a lot of factors, which is the games are getting more expensive. Like now, we're tapping into the $80 for standard, $110 for gold, $130 for ultimate.
Yeah.
Insane. With the current inflation that you're having, why would I pay this amount of money to buy a game day one that probably not gonna be perfect, and it's gonna be broken, and we'll have to wait for a day one patch, another patch, another patch. Meanwhile, I can wait for 6 months to a year when the game it's finally playable and it should be in the state where it should be released on day one, and it's either on one of the free services or heavily discounted.
Yeah. I guess they're doing a weird thing with Game Pass as well. Obviously, they're increasing their prices, and people always used to get a bit miffed with PlayStation's kind of tier of PlayStation Plus.
PlayStation, we have 3 tiers, right?
But I actually don't mind it. And then now Xbox are introducing all these random tiers, and it's getting more confusing than ever. And I think PlayStation's Plus is looking better.
Listen, PlayStation Plus is straightforward. You can get this, or this, or this. Now, your main selling point for it, like for example, PlayStation Plus never told you that, oh, you can play all of our games day one. It's certain games, right? But meanwhile, your main selling point with Game Pass is that you can play all of our games day one. But then you come up with a tier of, oh, you can buy this tier, but you won't get any of our games day one. Yeah. I mean, that's your main selling point. So why are you giving me... So it's kind of
and
like...
they've already plateaued on increasing people to Game Pass over the last couple of years. It's not growing. So they're now making it even worse. They're just going to start losing people.
No, it's not even worse. It's like, it's one of these tactics where like, oh, we have all these tiers for you to... It's like the Apple kind of thing. The Apple hierarchy situation when you buy something is like, oh, you can buy an iPad for 1,000 dirhams. But this is going to be the 128 GB. If you want to get more, then, oh, it's gonna be this much and this much. I mean, like basically Xbox is doing the same thing with Game Pass right now, which is, oh, you just want to play games that whatever is available on Game Pass, but you're not gonna get any of the new games for day one, which is your main selling point.
Yeah.
Oh, you can do that. So we're kind of indirectly forcing you to get the higher tier.
Well, as of day of recording, I'm pretty sure Call of Duty is now on Game Pass today,
yes.
which is the 26th of July.
Modern Warfare 3, yes.
Yeah. So they've just kind of put that onto Game Pass.
Yeah, I mean now
getting ready for their main launch of Call of Duty.
I'm very curious to see if basically them buying Activision and adding all of these Call of Duty games and even the Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is going to be day one on Game Pass, right? Yeah. Will that be actually a selling point for people to migrate from one console to another?
I personally don't think so.
I don't think so.
I mean, I've always been PlayStation, and I just have like a weird loyalty to it. Not that I am against Xbox, but I'm just like, oh, I like the PlayStation. I'm just going to keep using PlayStation.
You have more games on it to play.
And like recently, like you were saying, earlier you were saying about your backlog of games. I have this huge backlog of games, and I went through the actual tier list of PlayStation, and I was like, oh, well, if I'm on the lowest tier, if I just bump up a tier for a couple of extra dollars a month, I can get like Horizon, God of War. I started playing
Spider-Man 1, Miles Morales, Horizon Zero Dawn 1.
And the ninja game? I'm trying to remember.
Sifu? No.
No. The big open world one. Why am I forgetting this? Not Sekiro. Anyway, it'll come back to me.
Okay.
But I started playing that, and Ghost of Tsushima.
There you go.
I had never played it. Right, and I was like, I really want to play it, and then I was like, oh, it's there, and then literally I just upgraded a couple extra dollars, and now I've downloaded all these games, and I've been playing through them, and I'm loving it.
I think we get the essential and the extra and deluxe, right?
Yeah.
The deluxe is like what, $13 a month?
The deluxe, I'm not on that's the top one. I'm on the middle one.
Yeah.
And I get all of those games.
Yeah, I'm on the deluxe one. It's $13 a month.
Yeah.
And you get the PlayStation Classic catalog, which is like PS1 and PS2 games. You get all of these great games that you talked about and a bit more. You get Ubisoft games. You get a lot of games.
Yeah.
And for $13.
You get like the director's cuts of different games. Yeah, it's really cool.
And every year, basically every month they update their catalog with new games and stuff like that, like from for like either PS5 games or PS4 games or whatever it is.
And they'll do like 3 or 4 free games every.
That's in addition to the actual PlayStation Plus games. Yes.
Yeah. So they'll give you a game that isn't like a free game normally, but they'll give you a free game for like 3 or 4 games that you can download. Once you downloaded it, you've got it.
Meanwhile, Xbox decided to spend $69 billion on.
That's why they got no marketing budget on Activision Blizzard.
And basically after that, we're gonna bring all these games day one on Game Pass. But hey, now we need to increase it to almost $20.
Yeah, but also all the games are not worth playing. Starfield, I mean, a lot of people actually, what they also do to try and make more money is they go, hey, it's coming on Game Pass on like, let's say the 20th. But if you want to pay money, then you can start playing it on the 17th. So then people start buying it on the 17th and then realizing how bad it is.
But that's the other thing when the conversation about Call of Duty games or Call of Duty franchise coming to Game Pass, right? Let's say I'm a casual gamer and the only games that I play is basically Call of Duty and FIFA or FC, right?
Yeah.
Would it be sufficient enough for me to pay $17 a month or $18 a month now? Or would it be more sufficient for me to pay $70 for Call of Duty and $70 for FC and call it a day?
Yeah.
Doesn't
I get
make
you.
sense.
I actually bought, so I actually have like the PC Game Pass, but I never use it.
Because there are no games to play
And
on
I ended
it.
up just buying Starfield.
Yeah.
And I gotta be honest, like, Starfield's a solid 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's a good game, but it could have been so much better with what they promised and what they showed and whatever.
And
we
which
won't
by
get
the way,
into all of that.
they are doing now.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's too late.
It's too late.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's probably enough of that.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you'll just carry on all day.
And you
I think.
can feel that I had
Yeah,
a lot of things to say.
You're getting redder as we,
it's like-
Well, just relax. Let's move on from that. I think we're almost halfway through, so I do want to just talk a little bit more about the really
10.
cool setup. And
Oh, the
everything that
setup,
we're in.
okay.
Yeah. So Provision AVL, you can find them online on Google, Provision AVL. So if you have, I mean, it's distribution, right? So if you're looking to buy some speakers for your DJ setup, if you're a bedroom producer, there's loads of studio products as well, like the SSL. Also, they distribute PMC studio monitors, really nice stuff. Like I said, staging. These lights behind us are the JDC2s, the brand new lights from GLP, German Lighting Products. And they look really cool.
I love how you and I doing like the game show.
Yeah,
showcasing
exactly.
things.
Here you
Like,
go.
yeah, here you go.
The brightness right now is actually only set to about 20%. They're very, very bright lights, really cool stuff, used on big concerts. And then we've got some black speakers there as well. I've actually got one right here, so I'll put that a little bit closer. Wait, I've got to move this one out of the way.
Okay.
So this is DMB from Germany. Is that in the right? Yeah, look at that. This is the 5S. Sorry, I wasn't talking on the microphone. This is the 5S DMB speaker. Really powerful, used for like restaurants, bars, installations. Some really cool use cases for this. You can also use these with what they call as DMB Soundscape, which is like a 360 immersive sound, which is really cool. And the ones behind us are a little bit more powerful, as you can see, a little bit bigger. We've got the V series and the Y series. And I mean, these are the top range of speakers. So if you're looking for anything like that, then Provision AVL will surely be able to help you out. And they're located where we are right now, which is in DIP1, nice and easy to get to, and lots of friendly people to help you with everything.
Like Joe, for example.
Exactly. I bought one of these from them. I also bought a couple of speakers, so when we're doing our outside little events, gaming events, we bought some speakers for that. They've got Bluetooth on them as well, so if you do want to put your phone into it, it's nice and easy. So yeah, loads of cool stuff. You can check out their website as well, provisionavl.com. And also just want to shout out, of course, our amazing setup for today is all done by the Creative Broadcast Agency with Chris and his team. They're also fantastic. You can find them on social media, find them on TikTok. They're doing a lot of live streams and actually do a lot of like educational stuff. So if you want to learn out how to do a really cool setup, could be for a podcast, could be for a live stream, gaming live stream, whatever you're doing, then these guys will be able to help you out as well. So thank you guys, making us look beautiful. Hey. If I point at the different cameras, then I go to the different cameras, I think. You ready?
Yeah.
I don't know if he's doing it, but I'm doing it anyway. But awesome. Let's move on. I've got a little top 10 for you now.
Okay.
So we'll just run through it. These are just 10 games in like the order of their release date, right?
Okay.
So number 10 and number 1 doesn't mean they're better or worse.
Yeah. Don't number them, just like
okay. So first off, in August 1st, coming out, we got Star Wars Bounty Hunter. Obviously an older game that is being re-released, remade. Looks quite cool. I know, but it does look quite cool. Okay. So there's that one coming out. Pepper Grinder. Now this one coming out on August 6th looks really cool.
Yeah, you
might have played it already. Yeah.
So it's on Switch and PC.
It's on Switch and PC.
Okay.
It came out in like March, but it is coming to PlayStation and Xbox now. But it's really cool. It's kind of like your underground, almost like think about. Like a Mario, it's like a platformer. You're going through the different worlds and whatever. But you have you're a person who has a drill, all right? And you go through this world with a drill.
Okay.
And it's quite hard, actually, the mechanic of using the drill to start with. But once you get used to it, it's really cool. Okay. So Pepper Grinder, go check that one out. It looks really cool. And like I said, there's a lot of content about it already online because it was out already on Nintendo Switch.
Which would make it easier for people to know if they want to get it on console.
Exactly.
Like on PlayStation.
And I watched loads of clips of it, and I'm like, this game's awesome. So I'm going to get it for my Switch. I'm about to go on holiday, so I'm gonna basically use that, I think, whilst I'm flying. Mm-hmm. Volga the Viking coming out also August 6th. This again is the sequel to a game from 2012, but actually it's from an 80s arcade, which they remade into, for console and everything back in the day in 2012. Back in the day, 2012 was a long time ago, actually, when you think about it, 12 years ago.
12 years ago, yeah.
And now they've got Volga the Viking 2. It looks really cool. It's like pixel art, and go check that out if you like. Cat Quest 3, I don't know if you've seen these, but it's so much fun. Looks really, really cool. Obviously, you're basically like a cat who kind of is like a knight, and like you go through the world and you like battle, and it looks quite cool.
And it's 3, does that mean there's a 2 and 1?
There is a 2 and a 1, yeah, of course. So that is coming out on August 8th on all platforms, PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and Windows. Madden NFL 25. You big into your American football?
Nope.
No.
Not even to soccer or
No, just anything. You're just a gamer.
Yeah, I'm just a gamer.
Yeah. No, I quite like it. Me and my wife, we watched some of the documentaries about American football. It's quite cool, quite intense. Yeah. So Madden NFL 25, obviously, it is like the game to play for football fans, American football fans, should I say. So that's coming out August 16th, and it looks really cool. This one I'm really excited for, though. Black Myth Wukong. Kind of looks like a Souls-like, crazy bosses, crazy fighting mechanics. I'm pretty excited for that one.
And the good thing, as we're recording this, the previews came out for it this morning, and the sentiment is very positive. Yeah.
No, definitely. So I'm super excited for that. It is an action RPG. It's inspired by the classic novel Journey to the West, if you know that one.
Okay.
And it's developed by Game Science. Essentially, you're like a monkey king, and you're kind of going through this world, and there's a nice storyline. It looks like, and the graphics look amazing. Like the actual world looks really nice.
It's coming out on August 20th, right?
August 20th, yeah, and you can play it on PlayStation, Xbox, and Windows.
Amazing.
It's probably not Switch. Probably can't keep up with the demand for that one, but maybe Switch 2 when we eventually hear something about that, or whatever the next console is from Nintendo.
Hopefully.
We've also got Dustborn coming out. This is a story-driven adventure. Quite cool. That is coming out on August 20th. If you want to check out Dustborn. We've got Enotria, The Last Song, is also coming out. This is actually like a Souls-like as well. It looks really cool. You're kind of like, it looks like they've kind of gone off like masks, so every character has like these crazy masks, and like in one of the trailers I saw, like when you kill a boss, you actually kind of take their mask, and now you're like more powerful, and I don't know, but it looks really cool. So check that out. August 21st. Got Concord as well. That one's coming out. Sci-fi shooter. We've obviously spoke about that earlier.
Yep.
Hopefully it might get pushed and delayed, because August 23rd, from what we've seen so far, isn't what we're excited for. And the main one that we're both very excited to see, which we're going to talk in depth about now, is of course Star Wars Outlaws. August 30th. We went to a preview, like I mentioned earlier, at Ubisoft in Abu Dhabi. We're obviously based in Dubai, if you don't know. Really glad that they invited us down.
Yeah, thank you, Ubisoft. Please do more of that, please, in the future.
Exactly. And Ali and I went down. We had 3 hours to try it out, and it was really good fun. I mean, first impressions, Ali. Go on, give us your first impressions of that.
Walked in.
You're going from there, not even the game, like walking into Ubisoft.
Walked in. Like, I'm gonna give the overall impression, and then we can dive into details based on the notes that we had. But walked in, had no expectations. Walked out. I wanted to play more and get to know more.
Oh, 100%. I think that was exactly what I did. Especially that we had to share the time.
So I mean, it was interesting to be a backseat gamer and watch you play. I'm like, this could be a fun segment that we can do later on.
Oh, definitely.
Where you can see me from behind him, like trying to strangle him, but then he looks at me like, you're doing great.
There was one point where like, we'll go into more depth about it, but they're like one of the starting missions that we got put into inside this hustle bustle city. I managed to, it said like, you know, get into this place, right? Like sneak into it. It's a lot of sneaking mechanics, which I quite like. They were okay. Yeah. But I also preferred the shooting. But there was a lot of sneaking with what we did. And it was like sneak into this place. So I snuck into the place, took out some guards, you know, that was all cool. You've got your sidekick.
Companion,
Nix.
Nix,
Nix is your companion. And with Nix, you can like distract the guards, you can go take them down and all that. So I walked through, steals things. Ali just kept every single time he got a chance. He was like, I'm going to steal things. And Nix would go and like steal something from them, come back with a grenade. You're just like, okay.
Or like an access card or something. Yeah, which is very helpful, by the way. Yeah.
We did get an access card, which was helpful. So that was good. But yeah, I was like running around. I'm like, Ali, I don't know where I'm going. Like, you know, it just has like a little kind of arrow saying like, you know, this is the approximate. It was like an approximate, like around this area, and I'm in that area, couldn't figure out where to go. Walked past this one place like 3 or 4 times. Ali then realized, oh, you're supposed to climb up that wall. Yeah, so I didn't realize that, and that wasted about 25 minutes of our time just trying to find that.
All right, let's get into the technicality of these things, right? So I've noticed that Ubisoft as of late has been trying to shift away from, you know, I call it the yellow paint effect, which is basically majority like Uncharted, The Last of Us. You'll always find like a yellow or white paint of where you should go or which ledge you could climb.
Yeah, a lot less hand holding.
Yeah, which I appreciate, and they started that with Avatar because you remember that was killing me throughout the whole thing. I'm like, I've seen this before, I've seen this before, I've seen this before. But in my personal opinion, I felt in Avatar, it was, I think, one of the very first time that this mechanic gets introduced, but at the same time, the map in Avatar was very confusing. Yeah. Meanwhile, here, at least the map is a bit more straightforward, and you kind of
I think because of Avatar, it had a lot of mountains and caves.
Yes.
So when you're going toward that waypoint, you don't realize you might have to go up or down.
And also, like, when you have a very colorful and immersive world like Avatar, you kind of need to have like some sort of hint.
Everything looks the same. There's no reference
pretty
points.
Much, pretty much. And can I climb? Like, because I get like, even when we're playing Star Wars, there were certain areas like, you can climb into this ledge, but you can climb to that one. Yeah. So that's where it gets a bit confusing. But hats off for them to actually trying to introduce something new. Where like, we are trying to make you explore every inch of our world to see if you can actually access new areas from here or not, rather than just like taking you from point A to point B and hold your hand throughout the whole thing.
I think, to be honest, after like our 3-hour preview, we kind of had a lot better understanding of what you can do, what you can't do, and it's probably just a little bit of a learning curve.
Yeah, of course.
But because that was our first time, we didn't have much time to play it. You know, if you're spending 5, 10 plus hours into it, then you'll be good. I think so. Yeah. So yeah, like it was a little bit of a downer for us, but I don't think it's going to be an issue moving. Like,
no, not at all.
After a couple of hours of gameplay,
and honestly,
and we don't start like at the start point in the preview.
No,
we don't have any tutorials or anything like that. We just get jumped straight.
We play from like different places in the game and the story and everything. Now, in terms of overall story, it seems interesting. Again, it's one of these things where we can't talk much about it because also we don't want to spoil it for people.
Yeah,
as well.
Of course, yeah.
But without getting into too much details, the way that they structured different missions with different clans, if you remember, like I liked it. And it kind of like sets the platform of like, if you are into this play style, then I think you're gonna go with this clan a bit more than others, or like it's a mix of match and everything.
And there's a lot of different rewards with the different clans.
Yes.
So, but also, if a lot of the times it mentioned like if you're doing certain missions for one clan, you're probably gonna piss off the other clans, you know.
But I think this is where
so you're kind of going to be fluctuating between the clans and getting rewards from them, then leaving them for a bit, going to another clan. Yeah,
which I think ties into the because if you remember, like when they start promoting for it and everything, they said that you're going to make certain decisions that's going to alter the story, and you can see these small things here and there adding into that benefit. So I think for once you're gonna, I'm not gonna say that it's gonna be like Detroit Become Human or anything, but at least you would feel that there's a bit more of weight when it comes to the decisions that you're making, right? Yeah. So that's one of the things that I actually enjoyed. In terms of like gameplay in general, now this is where, for once, we can say this, that people, console players and PC players can actually unite and do something good together. I kind of struggled a bit with the controller especially when it comes to like the gunfights and everything.
Yeah.
It didn't feel as natural or as smooth as it should. Meanwhile, while watching you play like with keyboard and mouse, it felt more natural.
It definitely felt quite easy. And what we actually noticed, so like, is I think we bumped our sensitivity down a bit.
Yeah.
And that helped. With me as well.
Yeah.
I think one of the first things we got onto like a speeder, and Ali was like, "Oh, I'm glad I'm not in your car," kind of thing.
I took over the controller, and you know what? The funny thing that always makes me laugh.
You regretted it instantly, right?
No, that, but also like the thing that makes me laugh the most is like every time you smash into something, you hear that. Like,
yeah.
It's so funny.
As soon as you got in the speeder, you were terrible.
Yeah.
But
that's why I don't drive. Hey.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. But to be fair, like once we bumped the sensitivity down a bit, it got a lot easier. And I think it's another mechanic that's a little bit foreign to you because every game does it differently. But once you get used to it, you're going to be fine. Even flying in spaceships, whatever, similar sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little bit foreign to start with, but you'll get used to it. So I'm sure that was not going to be an issue moving forward.
See, to be honest with me, when I start playing any game, the first thing that I go through thoroughly is actually options and accessibility options.
Yeah.
That's something that I enjoy liking because again, by the end of the day, everyone has his own play style, right?
Yeah.
Like even if you remember, I was tinkering a bit with field of view and all of these things just to feel a bit more comfortable with how I see the world around me.
Yeah.
But see, the aesthetic overall, I actually enjoyed the world. Like I'm not sure about this, but I think the story of Outlaws fall between two movies. I can't remember which ones. So also, story-wise, which we didn't see much of, but it is interesting to see Ubisoft's outlook on it and see how will it be able to tie in with the overall feel and look of the overall story, because also, if I'm not mistaken, they're collaborating with the Lucasfilm, right?
Yes.
On this,
Yeah.
So I want to see how the overall story would tie into everything, but the aesthetic, even with the color schemes and everything, like even remember when you and I used to laugh about it when you get caught, how they flash it in front of you and everything. You can feel that they put a lot of effort into delivering a certain aesthetic, which, in my opinion, would debunk all the bad sentiment that was revolving around the IGN video that came out, officially the IGN video officially, and people said, "Oh, it looks janky" or anything. Trust me, when you play the full game, you would understand why they went with that aesthetic.
Yeah.
Which adds a bit of I wouldn't say nostalgic feel, but it kind of makes you feel that you are in a certain era and they're trying to deliver that to you.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, looks wise, it looked great. You're running through the city, and you actually start to slow down and look at the detail of everything, and there's so much detail in it. They packed it. It doesn't look repetitive. It looks like they've really gone and like placed every single object in every single place, like on purpose, deliberately, and I really like that about it. Obviously, we only saw a few sections of it, but from what we saw, was really cool.
And also give you the sense of like, oh, why is this there? Because again, they're depending on those gamers that have a mind that wanders.
Yeah.
Like if you remember when I was driving with the speeder and I saw something, I'm like, is this just a sign or can I do something with it, right?
You get distracted so easily.
Sometimes I feel that I'm borderline ADHD, but it's fine. But again, because it's one of the, because if you remember, there was also like a lot of interest points on the map, which allows you to discover more things and everything. So I think I love the idea that they're giving you an immersive world of Star Wars that you can actually go crazy with and discover every inch and every corner of.
Yeah, no, 100%. Going back to the gameplay of like the shooting mechanics, I actually really enjoyed it. As soon as I bumped my sensitivity down and I was able to get headshots, I was able to do the shooting. You can move around quite easily. You can do like a Call of Duty slide as well, style slide, which was quite fun. But yeah, like overall, like when it came to the combat, you've got grenades, you've got different weapons.
You can even use your companion.
Yeah,
to distract or
exactly.
attack or anything.
And you can even, if you want, you can sneak around, you can attack, and then you can then go and full blown get your gun out. You can upgrade your weapons. You can choose how you want to do that. One really cool thing which I liked is to kind of make you want to explore more. You don't have levels, and you don't put points into things, because I always never know what to do with that, right? I'm always like, I don't know. But what you do is you go and find these people who are like professionals or the best at what they do, and you kind of do missions for them, and they teach you new skills.
Yeah.
So that's how you're able to build up your skills, is you go and just find people out in the world who are masters, and then they teach you different skills. The more quests you do, they might have like 5 different skills that you do all of them, you get all 5 skills, and then you go to the next person, you find it out. So I quite like that mechanic. It gives you more reason to go and explore, which is great.
But at the same time, it worries me a bit.
Well, I just like that it's different. I don't mind skill trees and putting skills into everything, but sometimes it gets too much for me. I'm like, I don't know what to do.
No, I mean, I'm not against the idea. The idea is very smart and it's new. My only worry is that it gets repetitive. Meaning that with each one, the missions that you do for them are more or less the same. That is my main worry.
I guess time will tell.
Yeah.
Once we actually get into it.
Yeah.
But what I assumed was, depending on what the skill is, the mission would be like to use that skill in the mission, and then you've learnt it. So I'm hoping that it would be a little bit different, because every time you're learning a new skill, so you have to utilize that skill to complete the mission.
Yes.
Like a little mini game.
Or also it opens like more places for you, or more things to discover, or like more abilities for you to be able to do certain things. So you can see the mix and match in there. I just hope that these like it's not like big missions, or like, oh, you need to go fetch me one thing and then come back and then I'll teach you this. I hope that it doesn't rely on this all the time. Yeah, that's my only worry. But again, as an idea, it is very nice, because I'm like you. The reason why I don't play a lot of RPG games is I'm more of a linear guy. Like, for example, let's take God of War 2018 and God of War Ragnarok. They give you an RPG element of thing, but a linear RPG situation where oh, you have this skill tree, like you have this like mini skill tree, but eventually you'll need to unlock all of them. Meanwhile, with games like Cyberpunk or The Witcher or anything, you have a lot of important things that's scattered everywhere, which you need back to decide based on your play style to choose which one. Which is for me like, no, you cannot give me all of these options from the beginning and tell me pick and choose. I need them all. Yeah. So for them to introduce,
Cyberpunk was quite like that. The skill tree on that thing is insane.
Yeah.
And it's like just impossible.
The skill tree has a skill tree, and the skill tree has its own skill tree.
Yeah, exactly. yeah. So
for
very confusing. You have to look that stuff up. You have to look at guides. You have to find builds, and then you have to try and figure that out.
Exactly. But for them to also try to add a twist to that skill tree situation by you get more skills and you improve your character by immersing yourself in different missions with different characters. That's actually good, and I hope that they actually have the idea of there are like some of these missions would tie into the story somehow. Yeah, I hope so.
No, for sure. I mean, overall impressions, I'm pretty happy with it.
Same here.
I don't think it's groundbreaking, gonna get a 10 out of 10.
I mean, we hope so, that some people would find it that
way. I mean, I hope so too.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? Again, we only played 3 hours and 2 little bits. So,
but at least it like, see the conversation that you and I are having, you can tell that we're excited to know more, and we're excited to get our hands on it and play more.
And the main thing is I think if you love Star Wars, you're going to love it. If you don't love Star Wars, you're still going to have a good time and enjoy yourself and immerse yourself in this world. It's not like overly like, this is a Star Wars game. But if you love Star Wars and you get to explore that and you get to see the little bits that they put in there that make you go, oh, that's in Star Wars, and oh, that looks like that. Like, I think we went into like a cantina.
Yep.
And we were like, oh, that reminds me of the movies.
This,
exactly. Like I remember that, and that looks
you
cool.
saw something and you're like, oh, this reminds me from like when Han Solo came here and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
One thing I would encourage people to do when they start playing this game when it comes out is walk in with a fresh mindset. Walk in with, oh, this is Ubisoft's take on Star Wars.
Yeah.
And try as much as you can not to compare it to the Jedi series from EA, because we noticed
it's a different game.
We noticed it through it. That's so thank you. We noticed it through the years, right? Where when each the studio or developer does like a Star Wars, they have their own twist and their own way of bringing it out.
Yeah.
So I would say to everyone to give it a proper chance and basically walk in with a fresh mind of saying, okay, this is a Star Wars Ubisoft game, not a wannabe Assassin's Creed Star Wars Ubisoft game, or wannabe an EA Jedi Survivor kind of game. No, this is Ubisoft's take on Star Wars, and I think everyone should give it a proper chance, at least dig into it for like 5-6 hours, and then start building
100%
your experience on it.
It's funny you mentioned that. The first, when we actually walked in to the preview, there were about 6-7 other people also playing the game, and one guy, the first thing he said to me was like, "Oh, do you think it's going to be better than Star Wars Jedi Survivor?" And I was like, I mean,
no.
I was like, it's completely different. That's like a more like linear story, number one. It's about a Jedi with a lightsaber. This is like almost the opposite of that. It's going completely the other way. Instead of a Luke Skywalker type character, you're a Han Solo type character, and you're in an open world. You can go and explore. You can do whatever you want. There's no, you don't go through a door and there's a load screen. It's, everywhere we explored and went to, there was something else and something fresh.
It's seamless, it's seamless.
Even, we actually didn't get to experience this, but I saw it from like a preview they did like a while ago. You can actually get into your spaceship and take off, go into space, and there's not one thing that will stop you. Like there's no load screen for that.
Yeah, you have the freedom to do whatever you want.
You go up and you just fly into space. And
you feel like they build their own sandbox of Star Wars, basically.
Yeah.
And they're giving the player the freedom as much as they can.
And I think that when they did do cutscenes and they had like some dialogue, it wasn't too long, it wasn't boring, it kind of was concise, gave you what you needed to do, and then it brought you straight back into the game, straight back into that world, and I think they did it in quite a nice way. So yeah, I'm excited, and the plan is for us, obviously, we're going to get the game as soon as we can, and we're going to make a little review, so we're going to do it together. We're probably going to do an Arabic and an English version, so you got both options for that.
Also, wait to see who's going to be the good cop and the bad cop.
Yeah. No, I feel like we should have like one voice, just two different languages.
Yeah, and also like what we did now, like you added your things that you were worried about and you were happy about. For me, last thing before we try to wrap up and get the final impression, but also this is not me judging on it based on the little time that I played with it, but I felt that I wanted to see more gunfights rather than the stealth.
Yeah, I wondered if maybe they just put us in stealth missions instead of putting us in too much open gunfight.
I want to see some chaos.
Yeah, I think that's my one point as well. I agree with you.
Yeah.
If it is going to be like 90-80% stealth, then it's going to get a bit boring. I'm hoping that we just happen to do the two missions that were stealthy,
yes,
with a bit of gunplay. But yeah, for me, the gunplay was really fun, and I definitely want to see more of that. The stealth stuff was good, but it probably want to see like 30% stealth and 70%, fighting and dogfights and spaceships.
I'm gonna meet you in the middle. Give me 50-50.
50-50?
Yeah, 50-50.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we'll see.
So I think final thoughts, we're both excited for it.
Yeah, 100%.
And so should you. Everyone should be excited for this game because, again, like I feel that Ubisoft put their heart and soul into it, and they want to put their footprint into showing all the gamers basically that they can deliver like a beautiful Star Wars story.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to get my hands on it and see what did they actually do with the entire world and the different planets and how the story ties with the movie somehow. So I'm very excited. What about you?
Very excited. I mean, look, like you said, I'm excited to get the game. I'm excited to explore it properly and then, actually give like final verdicts after, at least 20-30 hours of gameplay, to be honest. I don't like playing a game for 3 hours and someone going like, oh, so what do you think? Because I'm like, I don't know yet.
Yeah, no one can decide. At least you need 5 hours.
So much more.
At
least 5 hours and 30 to be sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you do see some reviewers like after 100-hour gameplay review.
I'm still not sure.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still not sure. Yeah.
But no, I'm really excited for it. I love Star Wars. I'm excited to get immersed in that world. I'm curious to whether like lightsabers are gonna pop up at any time, or if it is just your Kay Vess and her sidekick Nyx Han Solo styling through the galaxy. And either way, I'm excited for it, and I think it's gonna be good fun, taking down some syndicate bosses and whatever else. So yeah, I'm all up for it, and I can't wait to for our review. So make sure you look out for our review because we're definitely going to be putting that out. And I think it's probably the most anticipated game currently.
For now,
coming out in the next couple of months. August 30th is when it's coming out. So you've got a little bit of time, but not too much time. Get ready, get it.
Almost a month.
Yeah, get ready to play it and get excited. Maybe watch a couple Star Wars movies if you want. Probably the first three.
Yeah.
Not chronologically, but the first three that were released, the 80s ones.
Shall we have that debate really quick? Do you start from 4, 5, 6 or 1, 2, 3?
Oh. I don't know.
That's all the time we have for you today, guys.
Yeah. We could do that for like an hour, I think. But yeah, I mean, I only suggest those because that's more Han Solo stuff, right? Yeah. So if you watch the 4, 5, 6, which were the first 3 movies to be released, that's a lot of Han Solo stuff in there, and I think that might get you excited. And to be fair, they're the best movies, I think.
Exactly, yeah.
So yeah, if you want to get excited for it, going around in the Millennium Falcon, Han Solo style, that's probably what you're going to experience in this. So yeah, super excited for that. I think we're almost at the end of our podcast. Is there anything else you want to talk about for the next 5 minutes?
What are your expectations for 2025? Since 2024 has been, compared to 2023, has been a more on the quiet side when it comes to video games?
It has definitely been more on the quiet side, and it's also been a little bit like disappointing in how some of the titles were.
Yeah.
We kind of were expecting to be better potentially. But yeah, obviously, like, because of what happened with COVID, games got pushed back, and we had that crazy year of like 2023, where all these amazing games came out. So I'm not too bothered that like 2024, I mean, Elden Ring came out, DLC, and I'm happy with that. So, just that one game alone has made my year. So well done, Bandai Namco. So yeah, either way, like 2025, I think hopefully it will be like that cycle again to go through it. Maybe it might actually push to 2026 with how long all these games are taking to get made, but I'm sure there'll be some big titles that we can expect and look forward to. I also think that 2025 should be a time for Nintendo to release a new console, if it is the end of this year or next year.
No way it's gonna be end of this year.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Because you saw with the recent Nintendo Direct that they had in June.
Yeah.
No, that Nintendo Direct showcased that the current Switch still have more life in it.
Exactly.
With the new Zelda game, which finally for once you get to play as Zelda as a protagonist.
Yeah.
And
that's boring.
And that's sexist. Hey.
No, not because she's a woman. Just Link's so cool, man.
And also like with the Donkey Kong and the Mario parties and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You can still see that they have more life into it. I'm not expecting the new Switch basically to come out before March.
No.
Yeah.
I think look, it might not even be Switch 2, right? It might just be a whole new console, because that's what they've done in the past, you know. The Wii,
but then they had the Wii U, so
yeah, that's true. So who knows? I mean, the Switch is a great console, and I think they've smashed it with it. I hope that there is a next gen console coming out next year, whatever it may be.
Most probably it's gonna be the PlayStation 5 Pro.
Yeah. No, I mean next gen from Nintendo. I definitely think PlayStation and Xbox are going to put out some sort of Pro version, probably next year.
Yeah,
it makes sense. It's around the right time.
I don't think Xbox are, because now they kind of announced that we're getting the all new digital one end of this year.
Yeah, but then PlayStation. Xbox will usually try and do it around the same time. If they know PlayStation are going to do it, they'll try and do it.
Wait, with the Xbox One, did they have like no, they didn't do that, did they? So you had the Xbox One that came out in 2014 or 2013.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, they didn't have one.
No, you're right, yeah.
Because from the get-go, their consoles are like, they come out from day one kind of powerful. And like, this is what you're going to get for the next 8 years, and it's going to be good. Right? But, I mean, yeah, we're expecting to hopefully see more about the PlayStation 5 Pro soon. Although, speculation nation saying, no, that's not going to be anytime soon. But also don't forget that you have GTA 6 next year.
Well, supposedly.
Hopefully.
I mean, who knows? Because they've been working on that for God knows how long.
And also, if the leak of the Insomniac studio that happened the end of last year was true, then we're expecting to see a Wolverine game. No, not a Wolverine game. Sorry, like a Venom game, and hopefully Wolverine by 2026. So.
I think it's going to be a good year, and to be honest, like I think predictions. Nintendo are going to put out a new console, and they're going to put out like some really cool games straight away with it, right? Because they always kind of do that. They have a big title that just comes out, surprises everyone, boom, it's there, got a new console to play it on, go for it. And they'll do well because it's Nintendo, and it'll be a good game. I think PlayStation Pro, hopefully we'll get some more top-notch games. Xbox, I think they're going to go down the crapper.
let's hope that they stick to the current release date. The release dates that's supposed that's slotted between September and end of the year.
But I mean, I don't care about them with release dates. I just want them to come out with good games.
That too.
Because that vampire game, I keep forgetting the name. The one that they did, Bethesda did on Xbox that was bad. Was it Vampires?
Vampire. Was it Vampire? No, which one?
The one that you were talking about earlier.
We're talking about a lot of ones.
The Xbox exclusive that came out this year. Or last year. I'm blanking now.
Redfall? Yeah.
Isn't that Vampires? I mean, I didn't play it. It is Vampires.
If Phil Spencer played it for 37 minutes, you cannot really play game.
Yeah. But that's the thing is like, you know, that was actually super hyped.
Yeah.
There was like huge. Everyone was like, "Oh, Redfall's coming out," and then like within a day, it was just like,
nope,
went down. So I hope, because I love Bethesda. They've put out so much good stuff in the past. They need to sort their shit out.
I mean, so far you have Perfect Dark, the new one, which is in September, I think, September 6th or September 4th, or was that Stalker, one of these two. And then you have Stalker 2 that got delayed to November 20th.
Yeah.
And then you have State of Decay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, and the game that I'm still surprised that they're gonna be releasing by the end of this year, which is Indiana Jones. That game does not look polished one bit.
No, again, but it's got a lot of excitement and buzz behind it, so let's just hope they don't mess it up. But anyway, I think that's just what we're going to keep saying for the next couple of years, to be honest. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Thank you for tuning in. If you're either watching it live or you're just listening to it in the car, obviously if you're just listening to it, then you can't see our amazing setup. So do head over to our YouTube, and also on our Spotify, you actually can watch the full video as well on the podcast. But make sure you subscribe, follow, whatever on the podcast. So we have all our podcasts coming out. We've got loads of cool content on our YouTube and on our Instagram, TikTok as well. With our review coming out soon, we've got a preview of Star Wars Outlaws that should be out already by the time this podcast goes out. So yeah, all of that and much more. Thank you very much, Ali. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much to Provision AVL. You've been amazing, and just look how nice this place is. And of course, our setup couldn't have been possible without the Creative Broadcast Agency. So thank you very much, Chris and the team. And we will see you next time for podcast number 35. Bye. Bye. I'm sorry, this camera. Bye.